Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hello and welcome to Share Talk. Today I'm joined by Alessandro Zamboni, who's CEO at SYME.L Capital. How are you today, Alessandro?
Hi, Zach. Fine. How are you?
Well, we seem to be speaking every week, which is obviously good fun. Big announcement yesterday. The headline is 8 billion euros is now at your beck and command in terms of funding the SYME.L business model. Just tell us a bit about how that's going to work.
Yes, it's important to say that SYME.L doesn't become a bank, but clinch a strategic agreement with the main shareholders, the avantgarde, and a very important fund in order to be funded for each future issuances with alongside a captive bank. You know that the big point, also pursuant to also thanks to the huge demand of companies to be funded, the funding side, and thanks to this strategic agreement, long-term strategic agreements, we could have in the near future, in the few months, an internal captive bank. I am saying a funding machine in order to support all our near future securitization issuances.
In terms of the relationship, it says in the RNS that you're not investing anything into this. It is a partnership. Is there a risk in this deal to the bank? I mean, where's the risk in terms of the lending, etc.?
I think that Innovative Bank could have a very important opportunity in order to provide funds into working capital inventories business through the platform, through SYME.L. So the importance to have the avantgarde and these funds that I'm working since 2 years is to have a bank that fully understood the SYME.L platform and SYME.L model, and so they can borrow, they can lend the fund, achieve profit, and also with a right cost return, and for SYME.L to have no cost, no fees to pay to the bank, but to have a partner that could support during the different securitization issuances the business. The main shareholder, the avantgarde, know very well both the SYME.L business, and you know that my team and me come from regulatory advisory, financial service advisory, so we have the experience, the background in order to have a bank that fully understood the business model of SYME.L.
But isn't the case here is that you have a platform, you're a middleman on that platform, you're not exposed to the risk. If business is done, you take a commission or you take a part of the deal. If there's no business done, you don't lose anything. Is that the way that's the way it works?
It's correct. You get the point.
Right. And in terms of how I think I asked you about this before, but in terms of marketing and getting the message out that this service is available, which can be an issue for companies, is there going to be a cost involved in that?
No, right now we haven't, as I'm saying, SYME.L has not cost in relation to the bank. And in relation, talking about the impact vis-a-vis the client companies, we could also manage a new pricing model in order to improve the margin for the platform, and also has the opportunity to work alongside blue chip, large corporate that could pay lower the service.
Is it also the case that you've got this you've got this relationship with one bank? Could you have relationships with 10 banks or 20 banks? This is just the start, is that right?
It's right, but the point is that our captive bank could support SYME.L as a strategic partner, but the other banks that SYME.L is managing the relationship could also we could create further synergies. Because I give you an example, we could also support large corporate business with the co-investment structure I'm talking that in UK we are we are talking with a large corporate these days that are asking support along through the market, and accordingly, I give you an example. In UK, we could work with existing financial partner that we are managing the term sheet. We are already received the term sheet, and our bank in order to support big deal, big size.
Right, and going forward, what are the timelines? I mean, obviously now the arrangement's in place, the partnership's in place. When are the first deals going to happen? When's the first revenue going to happen? And maybe if you can tell me what are the margins going to be on that business, or do you not know yet?
Yes. Firstly, it's important that the agreement between the avant-garde and the fund, in particular, the first capital injection is already signed. So there is a strong commitment in relation to the fund in order to capitalize the bank. We projected to use the bank in a few months. By the end of this year, we could support the backlog of companies already on board. You know that SYME.L manages roughly 30 companies. We have 70 companies. And a very important point is that the bank could operate not only for Italian business, but for UK, Middle East, and US. So we have a captive bank that could support all the business expansion of SYME.L in a short term for short-term results.
Right, and you know, obviously you've chosen inventory finance. It sounds to me that with that kind of backing, you could finance companies in any area on your platform. Is that something you would be thinking of doing?
It's correct. We continue to use the securitization. We study with the regulator the regulatory model in order to allow the bank to have a low risk-weighted asset in relation to our business model and support through securitization all the underlying, so all the geographies. And the margin are very interesting both for the bank and for SYME.L. We announced that we foresee an increase of 50% of our margin. And a very important point, also we could also increase the size, as I'm saying, and also work for specific situations, special situation, in order to support specific large corporate or specific business owners.
Right, you've got this idea here, which you know, it's like a new idea, and people are obviously very excited about it at the moment. What's to stop somebody else, another bank or somebody else, coming into your space and providing competition and maybe making things a bit more interesting in that way?
I think you know that the competition in our market is lower because there are regulatory constraints, and we need typically only the expert could understand the opportunity to create a bank alongside the inventory monetization business, because our background, our experience allow us to design a new service model end to end, where there is a bank, there is a SYME.L, but it's very important, the other partnership with the other banks will increase the benefit also with the investors of SYME.L, for instance. So it's not only an exclusive basis, because I see that some investors could understand or has understood that the bank could be avoid the opportunity to develop the open funding model, for instance, or the self-funding model. No, the bank is a very important partner that could create more synergies with the other our ecosystem.
So the ecosystem could contain upselling. Once you have a client in inventory monetization, there could be other upselling that you provide and other opportunities for revenue.
Yes, I give you an example. Today, also thanks to the announcement, new investors alongside the placing of SYME.L ask us for the new issuances to be part of the investment scheme, because there are skin in the game in the framework that are the captive bank. Also 1F2, my holding, the avant-garde, the reason of stock lenders. I think that the investors understood how we managed this transaction in the past, because we manage this important strategic transaction, and so the avant-garde will participate as a skin in the game in the bank, and the bank will subscribe the equity, for instance, the equity stake of a securitization, or the skin in the game that investor in the future could be asked to supply me. Supply me is important, that has no risk on the balance sheet. This is a very important point also for their multiples, for the share price. It's not financial services business.
Speaking of the share price, the shares have 10x over the last month or so. Do you have any message for people who suggest that 160 million pound market capitalization and such a big rise is too good to be true? But what's your feeling on the value of the company at the moment?
I think that we announced that we could charge up to 3% for the monetization of our companies. If an investor has made a research and also managed our potential, and not consider Supply.me a share where he could only trade in a short term. I think that the very important point is that the growth of the company, also the profits, also our payout policies will award all the investors that hold the shares and understood that the value for sure will increase thanks to the funding that is not problem, the demand that is an untapped market, and also our competitive advantage that a recent professor in US wrote us that we have nearly 3 to 5 years of competitive advantage in relation to the market.
So effectively, you could be regarded as a challenger bank rather than just the niche that you have at the moment, and have a valuation which goes with a challenger bank.
Yes, in an untapped market, not a challenger bank in the payments where there is an overbundling or solution, but in an untapped market.
Alessandro Zamboni, CEO at SYME.L Capital, thank you very much indeed for talking to Share Talk.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.